Two of the best, absolutely. And do you know some of the changes for Zerg right now with this in the ZVZ matchup?
In the ZVZ matchup?
I'm trying to think.
Nothing springs out to me immediately as being...
They didn't have the most flashy, like their change is more what happened to everybody else. Like they're going to see more mech. They're going to see, obviously Protoss got way different, but I think Zerg remains fairly similar. I know that they're talking about having Fungal not be able to be cast while below ground.
Yes, yeah. Which is relevant to this matchup later in the game. You know, we saw a decent amount of that. You know, it is the upcoming Infestor change that would probably be the biggest deal. They're also doing a few things with Infested Terrans, but that, of course, doesn't apply right now.
No.
So I think we'll probably see a fairly similar matchup, and we saw these guys go at it to the length and breadth of everything that ZVZ can be. And in this case, it includes Sue opening with a 12 pool to the southeast position in the red trunks, playing Zerg. He wants revenge. Without a doubt, he's going to try and get it on the back of a 12 pool. It's Sue. Versus his opponent, the reigning King of the Hill, the BlizzCon champion, the man that puts Sue again in second place. It is Rogue.
It feels like every Shoutcraft we have that one guy that wants to really bump up the, like, hourly earning. If you can win a game in about 3 minutes and 50 seconds or something like that and earn $500, it's pretty good. It's more than $100 a minute or something like that. So I hope to someday get paid some similar ways. But
Sixlings on the
right
way
into it. Rogue is just expanding.
Oh,
Things are already being made. They're almost done. And this map's small, by the way. That's something we've been talking about. The aggression of this map has been huge.
This pool is unbelievably late. 8 Lings already on the way. He is expanding behind. He's not going to one base all in, but the amount of damage this is going to do could be massive. There is no speed on the way as of yet for Sue. Bear in mind, he didn't take gas. This is a completely gasless Ling attack that will be seen coming across the map fairly shortly, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do when he comes for you?
Oh, come on. Guys, I tried to stop that before it got there. It's too late.
Oh, sue me.
He's going to have to cancel. I mean, he wants to buy time, so there's a chance he actually lets it finish just to buy time. His spawning pool is going to finish right about now, so I think he actually can cancel this. He doesn't need it to finish, because if he doesn't cancel it, it will die. Well,
why don't you let it finish? I mean, he's going to rely on the drones here. I don't know. I mean, Rogue's micro is the best in the business. It's going to have to be. You know, the slow Lings they may be, but they are Lings and those are drones, and that is not a fair fight, especially with more Lings on the way. And now, of course, the addition of Creep favors the Lings, doesn't actually help the drones in any way. And here comes the fight, which is going to turn into a massacre, one would think. We're going to see the best surround possible. So far, though, Rogue has actually held it.
He's done a great job. And the Queen's about to pop out, and that's going to shut down
Unbelievable. Talk about confidence. He lets the hatchery finish, using nothing but drones against 8 Lings on Creep. He only loses 4. That, you know, only puts him slightly behind.
Oh, he's way behind. No, wait, no, that's his speed start. Never mind.
Yeah,
I thought it was his speed on the other side.
Yeah,
no, he's fine.
Sue
There's a couple of drones. Not bad.
Sue only just took gas. Sue doesn't even have speed. You know, this aggression is over. He's chasing down this Overlord, which would be a nice little catch here. Shame there aren't any Lings maybe out on the map to take that Queen out, but that didn't work. It's not a game ender for Sue yet, but it's pretty much equalized everything here.
Yep. And we're going to get into the seesaw of ZVZ right now, where like a couple of Lings from Rogue will show up. So Sue's going to be like, I should probably add some Lings. And then the other player's making drones. So they're going to, it was the equalizer, as you said, if not slight advantage for Rogue. And Rogue is going to take that faster third. And what's kind of interesting in developing here, with speed so slow for Sue and probably feeling compelled to make drones and having lost that Overlord, as you pointed out, TotalBiscuit, I think this third goes unscouted for quite a while.
Well, the 16 Lings on the way. And the Metabolic Boost is on the way here as well. It is...
Oh, he might just all in, yeah. He's hiding him in the main.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what he's trying to do here. Unbelievable. It's
interesting. And with all the Queens at the front, you can see that Rogue really can't feel this out. He keeps like poking and prodding. And a lot of times you want to run by with lings, and if you have like 8 or 9 with speed, you can. But as it is, not so much. And the lings are going to sneak out, and they're not even spotted. TotalBiscuit.
Oh, yeah, not enough overlords across the map to cover a map of this size. Certainly, speed will kick in.
Oh, it's so many drones, too, from Rogue.
Is.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he is maybe, after defending it, he didn't expect a follow-up all-in, but one has to wonder, like, what else could there have been, really, from Su? GG! Spots it, immediately taps out. That was an interesting, I mean, I wonder what Rogue was expecting to happen, honestly.
So there's a couple interesting things happening there. He only had lings on the left side over there, which is the traditional spot to take that third. And I do have to agree with you. Like, what are the possibilities here? And I guess it becomes that kind of weird thing where because that attack was so early, it becomes possible to say to yourself, well, maybe he doesn't have any income like at all. And he's just in that natural building drones himself. But I feel like you have to confirm, he wasn't so far ahead that you like all in on Ling scouting or something like that. But you do need to know because he was ahead, especially with that third and all the drones he's piling out. He was up like 20 drones by the end of that game. But of course, that was at the cost of losing. Yeah.
Seems like he should have been a little more careful.
Yeah.
But there you go.
The casters in hindsight. Like,
of course. Yeah. If you're all in and it doesn't work, apparently you're all in again. And really, that may have been his only option. I wonder how much Rogue really knew about Su's situation at home. Because did he actually ever scout? Did he get the opportunity?
Got in. The Queens pushed him back.
So one has to wonder then if he just had the wrong idea about what was going on there. He must have, because, the follow-up seemed kind of logical. It's like, well, I've got to try and kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic Zerg problem. He oversaturated his drones. He went too ham on that. I think even if he sneaks out like 2 or 3 more queens, which is like the safe medium ground, because they still participate in the macro stage as well, then he can like wall off the natural, and maybe you lose the third, but all those lings don't end up doing that much. I mean, we can do the if-but thing for a while there. Totally. It just ends up being that he went too hard on drones, and it happens.
Overdid it. Vastly overdid it there, but as you said, it does happen. Bit of an unusual situation. The defense was impeccable. I mean, there's no real better way to point that out. The drone loss against that many lings, especially on creep, was astonishingly low. It was well controlled. He was absolutely in a great position, but he took it a little greedily and a little too deeply, and, well, he was punished for it. Simple as that. And Su, as you mentioned, did a great job of hiding those lings. He was well aware of where Rogue's overlords were. He was able to completely avoid them, catch him unawares, and, well, as soon as they showed up, that was it. It was too many drones and not a lot else, and you were not going to be able to pull off that defense a second time.
Wham bam, $500. Not bad.
Not bad indeed. Not bad indeed. Well, there are no second places in ShoutCraft Kings, so Su can safely say that is not a thing that can happen to him in this tournament. As much as that's got a weigh on his mind, and he's said so in interviews that he wants to erase that, I still think that despite wanting to chase that tournament win and not getting it, to say that he's got to second place in so many premier tournaments on such a consistent basis makes him the best player in the world. He didn't win BlizzCon, but good God, that consistency.
Second place was still $140,000. I mean, it is the story that he keeps taking second, but like you said earlier, and I think it's an amazingly good point, he is consistently at the top and at the finals of these tournaments. He's an incredible player. Yeah,
in a game that doesn't really lend itself to people going on those massive rampages. In Brood War, you had that term bonjour, which applied to players that were able to maintain a consistently high win rate across a long period of time because of how volatile that game was. And there were, maybe 6 of them throughout the entire history of Brood War, because of how difficult it was to maintain dominance for that long a time. And debates have been had. Is there anyone that could even qualify as that in StarCraft 2? And we've had some incredible players over the years, and murmurings have happened, but frankly, if you look at Sue over the past few years, look at it back to 2014, when this sort of thing started really happening. He gets his second place in GSL. Yeah, he then does the same thing in the exact next GSL tournament. Then he does it at DreamHack. Then he does it in GSL Season 3. 3 GSLs in the same year, he gets second place. I mean, that's unheard of. Nobody's done that. And then he does it basically again in 2017. Season 1, Season 2, gets 3rd to 4th place in GSL versus the World, not really an official tournament, but then gets second place in the WCS Global Finals. Nobody else has come close to that.
He's incredibly consistent, very good. You'll raise my hackles at the idea that that's an argument for him to be Bonjour, but that's okay. I like that there's a discussion about how good he is.
I mean, I think if it continues into 2018, especially if he actually finally wins the big one, you've got to start thinking that.
Well, Bonjour's win. It has to be that he won all those tournaments. Like the Brood War use of that word, at least where it comes from, is like not a I Love Ooh boxer. These guys, they didn't take second. They were actually winning tournaments for like 3 months in a row. In the
and in StarCraft 2, there's
in the world.
Nobody that really applies to.
Nope, it's too hard. Brood War, if you hit this certain level, you are actually head and shoulders above like everybody else. In StarCraft 2, it's happened. I think of some of Innovation's runs, but even Innovation, even some of these guys,
it gets figured out after a while. Yeah, it's incredible.
Brood War also didn't get balance patched and didn't have it did have map pool rotations, of course, but it was always the same game. StarCraft 2 has had 3 iterations and then tons of balancing in between that. I mean, I think it's almost impossible.
Yeah, you may very well be right. But that's what impresses me so much about Sue, is that he's done this across so many patches. We talk about 2014, that was Heart of the Swarm, and he still shows that level of dominance. So, one way or the other, Sue is a very, very good player indeed, but so is his opponent. Ladies and gentlemen, Odyssey LE will be our next map, and Sue will attempt to hold his position on the throne. His opponent is monstrous, especially with Protoss in his current state. We'll see what he can do. It's Stats.
Yeah, Stats is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think Zest has a lot of the hype right now just because of what he's been doing. But
over the last few weeks, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, Protoss seems really strong, and I'm super excited to see what Stats does with it.
Yeah. To get involved in the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, use hashtag ShoutCraft on Twitter. We'll include the best tweets on the show if you want to get involved. And, of course, let your friends know that we have a really cool tournament going on right now. If they happen to miss anything, then the spoiler-free VODs will be available over at youtube.com/TotalBiscuit. And, of course, subscribers to the channel, well, they get that pretty much immediately, which is nice. We'll also be doing a rerun right after the show. So if you happen to miss anything, well, don't worry. You'll be able to see the show once again.
You can't miss it.
Yeah, we'll make sure. We will absolutely make sure that you can watch this show, because we love doing it. It's great. It's an awesome format, and we get to see the best players in the world go at it in an environment where you really don't get to see them do that all often. There's only so many dual group stage, best of 5, best of 7 that you can really endure, in my opinion. I like the variety in this tournament. Well, you get plenty of that. Yep. You get to see a full spectrum of players. And this player right here, well, he's king of the hill. He's in the southeast position. He's in the blue trunks. He's playing Zerg, your second place GSL finisher. And, of course, WCS grand runner-up. It is Sue. He faces off in the northwest position in the red trunks, playing Terran against playing Protoss, sorry. Against Team Splice's Stats.
And Sue came from the same group as Rogue and that, Neeb and these guys, and did it off the back of similar stuff. He was aggressive where need be, and then was able, of course, to stretch the game out. They were not one-trick ponies, and TotalBiscuit talked about this earlier, and I think it's actually really, really true. When you look at the absolute top-tier StarCraft 2 players, we're finding ourselves in an era where less and less do we get to stereotype them into such a limited role, where we're like, this guy's an all-inner, or this guy only goes late game, or this guy only does this thing, or only has good micro. It feels like more and more we're seeing And of course, to certain degrees, guys, by the way, this has always been true. But right now, I'm just loving that we're seeing such a diverse thing. Like Sue, too. We talk about his mid-game plays. Hydra Ling, Baneling busts are really epic. But against Neeb, it was a lot of work getting done before that to secure him to get out of that group on his way to taking second for $140,000. So it's really fun.
Now, Stats maybe isn't in the conversation as a result of Zest, but he certainly should be, because the person he lost to in Home Story Cup after ripping his way through 5 different players, only dropping a single map in the process, well, it was Zest he lost to, but he dominated everybody else. Like, it wasn't even close. Alive 3-0, Alazer 3-1, Showtime 3-0, TLO 3-0, Demuslim 3-0. And he put in time in the Oli Mo League very recently as well. Ling actually gets in. That's a surprising little lapse there. He's going to get a good scout. Maybe going to see that Oracle. Certainly saw the Stargate. He was able to also put on a good show in the Base Trade Star League Finals. Beats Trap and Cure. And in Oli Mo League beats Cure again and Ryung, losing again to Zest. So Stats should be in the conversation now here, and we'll see what Sue can do. We've seen very little of Sue since BlizzCon. We've basically seen nothing of Sue since BlizzCon, unsurprisingly. One of the last-minute additions to
actually show up with the natural. It actually might get that Siren Scream. Nope. Okay, the Oracle's going to come over and help. Now, it was an interesting moment in time. Stats actually had an Oracle just outside the natural, where there was only just the one queen, and the one from the main was going to trundle her way over there, but not connected by creep. So it would have been kind of a bad situation, but with all the Lings coming out, Stats made the choice, and probably the right one, to pull back and say, nope, I'm going to take 0 damage from those Lings. That's going to be my objective, and he does it great.
There was also an attempted Sloverlord drop, which is going to get shut down. There was a Phoenix out. Always nice to have one of those. We've seen Protoss forgoing the Phoenix because Oracles are so good, but Oracles don't shoot up. There is a second Stargate being added behind this. Stats is not taking a third right now. We may be seeing Disco Inferno. There's a third Oracle on the way. There's no reason to suggest that would not still work. It was
Inferno.
We saw it work very well in the previous iteration of Shoutcraft Kings in October. It did exceptionally well there. Oh, was it September? I think it might have been September. I don't think we had an October show, but it was good. It did a huge amount of damage against Zerg, and I mean, Lings are not really an answer to that, unless, of course, you can kill the opponent before the Oracles become relevant. And Lings make their way in. Shield batteries won't help you here. Lings heading to the mineral line. The Oracle, and of course, the second Stargate has been spotted. In come the Oracles here, and an Adept run by. Lings moving in to try and engage against that lot of Lings on the ground. Queen's just being picked off by sheer Oracle firepower. The Adepts did not get cleaned up here, and they are proving to be a bit of a burden. Finally, they will be shut down, but look at that Oracle count. It's already at 5. There's 2 more on the way. I mean, Sue's got to queen it up. Sue's got to get spores. Sue only just built his lair. The answer to this is actually Infestus, but he is minutes away from that, and these Oracles are not going to wait.
Yep, and they're showing up right now, like you said, 5 heading towards the main. This is actually what's so strong about the Oracle, the Mass Oracle style, is they pick the fight. So they're going to show up here. It's just the one queen and the Spore Crawler, and well, it's just going to be the 4 for right now. They're going to target that Spore Crawler immediately. They're going to drain it of its life almost immediately, and that's trouble.
Yeah, it is. This is not enough. If you see that many Oracles coming at you, you're going to need a lot of queens. Nice pick-off, though. That Spore underneath. It's almost like Stats didn't actually notice it was there. Taking some numbers out of that is good. You do need that critical mass of Oracles to be able to effectively pick off queens and the spores on the ground. This is buying time for Sue. He's doing his best. That's a quick lift. Nice play there, and these queens will be obliterated quite quickly, but not a lot of Oracle energy left. These are not things that can constantly attack. And in the meantime, Sue has been using that Ling advantage to just constantly bother and harass Stats to the point where Stats has had to pull Oracles back to defend. So this is currently the answer. So while I can't fight them, but I can force them to be in a place where they can't kill me.
And we're seeing the development of this transition for Stats. Double Forge shows up, so that's not for the Oracles, obviously. But a bit of a wash across the board from the Zerg. I think that that Spore Crawler gets MVP in my book. It picks off like I think it was 2 Oracles and a single Phoenix, so not bad. It was the second Spore Crawler, to be fair. But I do like Sue's reaction. He's going to go ahead and take the gold base. He's been powering out drones. The Lings have gotten some work done, and he has this Spire taking shape behind this. Now, what makes me a little bit nervous about that is there's no Hydra Den, so he's going to go into Spire, but this is going to be like really beefy ground. Look at the 2 Chrono Boosts. The 1/1 upgrades are almost at 50%, and they just finished. I cannot highlight enough how strong that Chrono Boost is.
Here's the thing about this strategy from Stats. You know, he's been investing gas in nothing but Oracles, and yeah, okay, he's going to force a 4th base cancel here. And we actually, again, don't see the cancel, really. These guys are going to need some Dodger brand coffee because they're a little slow today. Mutalisk coming out from Stu. We saw Stu do some incredible things with Mutalisk at BlizzCon, and all of that gas from Stats went into these Oracles. They get progressively less useful as the game goes on. These constant Ling harassers are being a nightmare to deal with. They're forcing Stats to bring things home to defend. And that is buying Sue the time. Wow, a lot of spores on the ground. Mutalisks, some very interesting looking, unique Mutalisks. I love those. Those look great. Oracles, well, they don't deal with Mutalisks very well at all. And they don't get out fast enough either. So
he'll happily lose a few TotalBiscuit. He sees them as they come out. It's not unlikely, or not unreasonable rather, for him to have not scouted this and Mutas show up. And if they just show up, he dies. But his reaction's so late because he didn't have any gateways.
Yep, he didn't.
He's in trouble anyways.
That's not going to help. Yeah, I mean, what do you got? Doesn't have the shield batteries in play. He's got a photon cannon up finally. We see a Protoss actually build one of those. A single Phoenix. But these Mutas have already done significant damage, and they're going to find themselves a ripe mineral line for plucking here. This is an excellent defense against a strategy that was dominant for a good couple of months, and an excellent response to it too, and Stats is reeling from the impact.
Yeah, it could have been a little bit worse. He's got actually a bunch of probes in his natural not mining right now, so his little mistakes like that are being forced because of kind of the desperation of what just happened. But if he had gateways, I was worried because actually Stalkers are a great response to Mutas all of a sudden.
Yep.
But he just didn't have the gateways.
No,
he is able to kind of survive okay-ish, and it's Corruptors coming out now too, so this is committed air.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see why not at the moment, but there is, of course, the concern that if he stays on air too much, then his ground army is going to be vulnerable to a push. And here come those Blink Stalkers, and they will be relatively well upgraded soon enough with the benefit of that additional Chrono Boost. They're currently 1-1 with Blink. You don't want to mess with them. They do have additional damage now in patch 4.0, particularly against armored units, but still, you know, significantly better against light units than they used to be.
Yeah. But now Hydras, too, from Sue, by the way, which I love.
Yeah.
What an interesting transition. He goes from, when the Corruptors show up in a Protoss's mind, they're like, oh, I am facing a lot of air units. Like Corruptors to back up Mutas, very rarely does someone kind of softly do that, but Sue is doing exactly that, and it's the right call. Because if he just keeps going, it used to be that Stalkers were such a piss-poor answer for Mutas, but with how much damage they do now, they're pretty darn good, especially with those Corruptors not being able to contribute to the fight. So, nicely done.
Yeah. They will also crack Corruptors a little quicker as well. You know, those are armored units. There's a little bit of a buff there. So I think this is going pretty well for Sue regardless, though. You know, he's really been able to hammer down on Stats over and over again. Constant harassment. And I am worried about Stats' ground army. I mean, look at the size of this coming in from Sue. A big traditional Ling Hydra Bane, but with backed up with a large air force as well.
And stasis wards. If he doesn't send Lings forward to kind of trigger these prematurely, and they grab a big grip of units, that could be great.
Yep, really, really good. There's the big blink, and you're seeing the augmented firepower here, but look at what's on the ground. Those Stalkers are not going to be able to deal with an army of that size. And, well, unfortunately, excellent force fields. If only there was AoE there to really shut those Banelings down, but they are getting picked off as well as could be expected, but economic damage is significant here. The probe line was wiped out. The Stalker line doing a good job, but the sentry's now picked off here as well, so no Guardian Shield, and there might just be too much Zerg here. Stats did what he could, but there is. GG. Sue flattens him. God, just punch after punch after punch. He does.
Sue looks zest-like there.
Very good,
just really strong. He takes a couple of blows to the chin, and It was looking a little bit rough, but bounces back immediately, takes the gold, doesn't settle for that, takes the 5th behind that as well. And like I said, I loved his transitions. I love that he went from Muta Corruptor, Corruptor into Hydra immediately, and was able to zone out the scouting that was being attempted. The Phoenix, the Oracles, they were trying to see if there's a transition there, but he zoned it out, and it just caught stats off guard.
And how do you zone out 8 Oracles from scouting your base? Well, apparently you do what Sue did. You know, the hold was excellent. You know, maybe a couple of errors there from stats to allow that Spore Crawler to do as much. I genuinely think he didn't see it. Like, it was so well hidden, I actually didn't see it. It was deliberately nestled in a place that was harder to see. And yeah, that does make a difference. You know, that's something that in the heat of battle you don't necessarily notice.
Right.
And Spore Crawlers can rack that damage up very effectively.
Well, once you turn on the pulsar beam, you're kind of committed to the fight. If you leave that energy is, of course, going to be gone, or your efficacy is going to be diminished. So there's that moment where you're like, I'm committed to this. And you're like, oh, am I? And then at that moment, you can lose an Oracle or 2, which is exactly what happened. So really nicely done by Stu. And he just looked really smooth. He had great transitions, great ideas, and executed at a very high level, which is very well done.
Yep. As you would expect from a player of that caliber. But can he keep it going is the question. We still have plenty of excellent players lined up for him to face off against. We're going to take a break here on ShoutCraft Kings. When we come back, Sue defends the throne. $1,000 down. How much more loot can he run away with here? How many more top players can he demolish? We'll find out after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ShoutCraft Kings, your reigning king of the hill. None other than Sue. He's got 2 maps on the board, $1,000 in the bank. Nothing to complain about. A little bit extra to go on top of his fairly phenomenal BlizzCon 2nd place finish. Must be pretty happy about that. Yeah. But there are plenty more adversaries for him to face down. In the meantime, though, I would like to remind you of this tournament's sponsor, and that is, of course, Dodger's Coffee Company. You're pulling an all-nighter trying to master the new patch? Are you tired of low APM and Koreans crushing you? Dodger's Coffee Company is high-quality, specialty-grade coffee that goes perfectly with your training schedule. But let's be honest, you suck at StarCraft, you're always going to, but at least you can have a good cup of coffee while you play. It's a modern take on Americana diner coffee made from responsible, ethically and sustainably sourced specialty-grade beans. The coffee is a dark, smooth roast. Yes, low in acidity with hints of cocoa, caramel, peanut tastes, and zergling. Maybe not the zergling. The coffee is roasted in the US by a small craft coffee company, and small batch roasting ensures that the coffee you receive is of the highest quality and was made recently for maximum freshness.
It's not bad, John. And, I like that you're talking about excellent things, because kind of for me, when I think of excellent things, the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is just me. And this last few days have kind of been shown that, basically. I was able to travel down to San Diego, play some Warhammer, but honestly, that's not the biggest of deal. I just kind of woke up every morning, looked in the mirror, looked at myself, and was like, damn, You are one sexy son of a bitch. And then the day just kind of escalated from there. Like, is it because I am a former professional StarCraft 2 pro and I've bench pressed 700 pounds and married to a model wife? No, it's none of those things. For me, the most impressive thing was I was able to raise, create a companion in an English bulldog. The highest honor in human society is, of course, to be able to befriend an English bulldog. And I've done that on numerous occasions. So for me, all of that just speaks to just how amazing I am. And it's kind of like the rich, smooth taste of Dodger Coffee Cold Brew.
Yeah, it's exactly like all of those things, actually. And we could pretty much guarantee that were you to consume such a good, these things could happen to you. There is a possibility.
Yeah.
A possibility. A non-zero numerical possibility that it could happen.
Yeah.
You just got to believe.
That you have to start with believing.
Yes, and then head to shoutcraft.dodgercoffeeco.com and buy some goddamn coffee, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Stu might be pulling an all-nighter, so he could use some coffee. His next opponent, on the other hand, is fresh and ready to rock and roll. One of the most dominant players in the foreign scene and one of the most dominant players in ShoutCraft Kings. He has been making quite the living off this tournament lately, but this is 4.0. We've seen very little of him up to this point. What is he going to be able to accomplish? It's Neuro.
Good to see him.
Yeah.
Also at BlizzCon, of course, and one of the most accomplished non-Koreans. And like you said, he just has a tendency. I'm sure you guys have quite the rapport, because just every Shoutcraft, here he is. He knows the drill.
Oh, yeah.
And he does well here.
It's like, will you play? Like, yep. You know, there's very few events he has not played in for Shoutcraft. I don't blame him. You know, he had one of the most legendary runs we've ever seen in the tournament in 2016. He crushed 8 of the best in the world, one after another. Like, this is a guy that can adapt to pretty much anything, has been adapting to pretty much anything for a long time. Just comes off actually quite a few recent victories. He's been grinding online tournaments. Over the last 4 days, he's played in 3 of them and done incredibly well in all of them, honestly. Now, 2-0 against Gumiho in the OSC Masters Cup, for instance. 3-0 against Lucira. Came in and run up against Snoot in the qualifier for the next OSC, and actually did lose that in a Zerg versus Zerg. Neuro, he's got this weird relationship with ZVZ. Sue, unfortunately, seems to be having a weird relationship with the lobby at the moment. Hopefully, he will not time out. Currently looking at his timeout screen. Yep, that's fine. We can talk a little bit more about Neuro's accomplishments as of late. He also played in the Blazer Open 5 and demolished Power, Guru, Scarlet, and Bly. That was all Zerg, by the way. Like, he's had a huge amount of ZVZ practice over the last few days. And as much as he does not like the matchup, and that's his claim, not anybody else's, I think anyone who has ever said, I don't like the Zerg versus Zerg matchup, is generally quite good at it. They're just either not willing to admit it or they just don't enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm not shit posting with Ryung or anything like that.
But yeah, in fact, we should let people enjoy it. I'll bring it up on the screen for you right now.
We should give some love, though. We have a lot of, you guys have done a great job allowing for other streams as well. Like, obviously, we're on the English stream here, but there's Korean, is there Russian, I believe, and
Polish?
Polish?
Is, yep. We have Starladder, who are Russian casters, Take TV in German, of course. O Gaming are ever wonderful.
The French,
absolutely.
They're doing what they can with what they got, you know?
Well, Sue looks like he's actually okay now. So, I wants to remake. Yeah, I don't blame him. Having, like, lag like that, yeah, we're gonna remake the game.
That's fine.
For obvious reasons. It would be pretty silly not to. But yeah, big shout out to them. And, of course, to all of our Korean viewers. We have a lot today. Crank TV, pushing up 2,000 viewers there.
Great.
Awesome to see him. Awesome to see that. I actually am going to have to relog into NA as well. NA has been having some issues today.
It has.
Yeah, so I'm actually
going to... Not just today.
No, I'm going to have to restart the game entirely by the looks of it. I don't have anything. I can't even switch servers. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Well, we'll load it up. We'll reload the game.
It's like those, you know, if you've ever been to Disneyland and they're working on a place and they have a sign up that says, sorry for the inconvenience. We're like, I think it says something along the lines of like, we're growing your imagination. That's what's happening here, guys. Okay, so NA is being a little bit buggy. Sorry for the inconvenience. They're improving StarCraft. StarCraft went free to play. There's tons of new people playing it. They just balanced the game. It was a major update. So a couple of days of instability. All right, we'll put up with it as long as you guys keep giving love to StarCraft, which they have been.
Well, I'm having some issues right now because I can't even load it. So I am restarting my Battle.net client. I'm going to try and get the game back up again. Apparently, I'm not the only person to have this problem. So that's
if this goes south, can I recommend that we put them all into games of Counter-Strike Go and just see it from there? Just ShoutCraft Kings from there.
Pretty much, yeah. Just any game. Yeah, this is actually a fairly major problem. I have an error occurring with starting StarCraft 2. That's after restarting the Battle.net client.
That might be that one that, yeah.
Oh, is that the one where I have to reboot the entire machine? Because that would be really bad.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I'm going to see if there is a way around it. It does look like StarCraft 2 is actually still in the memory, which it shouldn't be.
Yeah, if you could hard close it, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do that and hope to the love of God that this is enough to fix it. Because if it's not...
That's super annoying.
Yeah, that would mean restarting the whole stream and dropping 16,000 viewers, which we'd prefer not to do. So I'm doing my best, folks. I'm doing my best. This error is quite recent. Not really sure what's causing it. Let's see. Please work. Please tell me. I mean, there's no real reason for it to fail to load. Aha! Yes, that's what it is. So, if you do get that error, by the way, here's your fix. If you get the StarCraft 2 will not load error -2000, go into your task manager, and even if it looks like StarCraft 2 has quit, apparently it hasn't. So, yeah, it is still hiding there in the memory. And that is what is causing the problem. So, I'm able to get back in, and I'm going to be rejoining the lobby momentarily. So, we will not have to restart the stream, thank God. That would have been
terrible.
Yeah, that would suck. It's like, oh, that's all momentum
for non-streamers, I guess, to explain that, anytime you close your stream, there's just a gigantic percentage of people that will they move on. And that's totally fine. I get it. They're here to watch stuff, and if stuff's not happening, even for just a couple of minutes, they're gone. And it just is a huge inconvenience. It's also bad because TotalBiscuit ports videos. He makes YouTubes of this. Like it would
be disruptive. Let's just put it that way. Yes. Yeah. Thankfully not. Thankfully everything is good. We're good, and hopefully we don't get that again. Yeah, Sue had that massive 45-second freeze. Whatever's happening on the NA server today, folks, we would really love for that to be resolved sooner rather than later. So, yeah, Blizzard can get right on that. So buy
Dodger Coffee, because honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I believe that to be one of the ways to fix it.
Yep. Get up and stay up and focus on the task at hand. All right. But yes, that is, if you ever have that error today, go to the task manager, find that process. Even though it says it's quit, it isn't. It's a liar. It's a liar.
Like everything else in this world.
Kill it that way. That's a little bit of a depressing way to look at it, but hey. Here we go. Let's hope it doesn't happen again. So the southeast position, our challenger, one of the most dominant players in ShoutCraft Kings history. In the blue trunks, playing Zerg, Neuro. Versus his opponent to the northwest position in the red trunks, also playing Zerg. Second place at the BlizzCon Grand Finals. It's Sue.
Why is his handle TLNet?
I don't know. That's his NA account handle for some reason. I don't know what's up with that.
Huh. Well, all right. So no 12 pool this time.
No.
And Nurchio, of course, did watch that. So, but I've seen this too. Like Nurchio in ZVZ, especially in that European scene, does very well for himself. But
he does.
Part of doing well in ZVZ is not playing afraid. You have to just make a choice, kind of commit to it, and go with it. Like if you play every game going, yeah, but what if they're doing a quick Baneling pool, or what if they're hiding Lings and they're all ending behind it? There's obviously ways to kind of inform yourself against all that, but this is the matchup where if you ask all the Zergs, they will look you in the eye and say there is a heavy dose of RNG in it, and you just kind of have to live with that.
Well, in many ways, it's kind of like poker. It's a case of you got a hand, you have two options. You either play the hand or you fold the hand. Unfortunately, if you fold the hand in a best of one, well, you're out of the tournament. You have to play it very confidently. It requires, obviously, a huge understanding of your own race, since you're playing against a mirror of that, and any loss, in my opinion, in a mirror match counts double, because there's that asymmetry just isn't there. If you have less drones than your Zerg opponent, the advantage is clear and numerical. There's no mitigating factor there that may exist for another race. So It's always interesting to watch. I think ZVZ has evolved quite nicely. I think BlizzCon demonstrated that. We had some excellent Zerg versus Zerg. Not a match I'm usually a huge fan of. I don't think a lot of people are fond of watching it, but...
Yeah. I think it's still living with the stigma from what happened in Wings of Liberty and a lot of HOTS. It was the worst matchup. It just was...
It was.
Very roach, very, very unexciting. It either ended with Lings or roaches just slamming into each other. But since then, in Legacy of the Void, it certainly can still get there, but I love the introduction of Ravagers. I think the late game is way more interesting. There's actually difference there. There's choices. You don't just go Brood Lords. There's other things you can do too.
Yep.
It's a much better matchup.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot more to see and do. And a third base, big divergence in strategy. Nurture going for the third, and Sue going for an earlier Baneling Nest. Of course, Nurture's not going to skip the Baneling Nest. He needs it. Could use it defensively. Will probably need to do so. And looking to see, look, can I get that third base? Well, Sue's already aware of it. He scouted it. So does Sue turn on the aggression here or try and take his own third? Because obviously he's a little bit behind in that regard.
Yeah. And it's going to have to take shape pretty quickly here. His own Baneling Nest. He's actually got drones coming behind this. So it is a defensive Baneling Nest for now. Of course, again, ZVZ is a very seesaw matchup. Anything that's happening now is not necessarily the case like a minute later. But is the third scouted here? I want to see. Yeah, Sue sees it.
Yep. He knows. He immediately went lair right off the back of that, rather than trying to turn on the Ling Bane aggression, which, kind of makes sense. He'd know that Nurture would have defensive Banelings, the defender's advantage, and, it's not a sure thing to go in for that. Does add the Roach Rod on, but, very, very quick lair, looking to get that Roach speed, maybe get Tunneling Claws out nice and quick. There are options. It is not just Roach versus Roach anymore, but Sue can't let this pass. The third base is going up. He's got to apply some kind of pressure, and he has a lot of Lings to do it. There are not many Banelings to deflect that, but lots of Lings being quickly built by Nurture. That's the nice thing about ZVZ and the defender's advantage. You can get those units on the board very, very quickly here.
And the Roach Warren and Lair is honestly what is giving Sue some life here. He's going to kind of leverage this attack a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Banelings, just the two. They're slow, of course. He's just trying to find an opening. If he can slow down Nurture a little bit, that's nice, because there's still no Roach Warren for Nurture, and we should see even Roach speed pretty soon.
Ooh, big Ling run by right into the main base. Some economic damage will be done. Queen's going to get picked off here. It does it. It does it with the Baneling coming at the last possible moment. What a save by Nurture. Does still take some drone losses, though.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
He's up to 8 now.
Pretty significant. Counterattack, though, comes in. Now, Nurture's not going to let that stand and actually is able to equalize that quite nicely. A huge counterattack that Sue clearly didn't see coming and wasn't prepared for at all. No defensive Banelings, I don't think, in place. Sue committing to the attack. And as a result, what a mess as it finally gets cleaned up. But look at that equalization. Look at Sue's worker count. He's a base behind.
Here at all.
No.
It's a 20 supply advantage for Nurture. He's up 13 workers. And he's pressuring with Lings. I was really worried about a Roach kind of timing attack coming out from Sue, but that's non-existent. There's no way.
Yeah, he's going for it. The defensive Baneling is immediately detonated. That's going to go straight for the mineral line and detonates without too much damage being done. But, look at the worker count between the two. Nurture could just keep piling this on. And, Sue's tech advantage... what is it? What is it? It isn't one. It's not real. He can't build enough roaches to make a difference.
No. Unfortunately, a couple of Banelings did hit that hatchery at the third, but to your point, you're exactly right. There's like a few roaches coming out, but they're defensive. They can maybe wall off the natural.
Yeah, it's about
with a drone advantage, the tech becoming a wash, as you pointed out. This is like a mathematical win for Nurture. Things can get weird. And if Sue wins from here, then that would be one of the biggest comebacks I've seen in a long time.
It's not impossible. Sue's definitely done it, but in a mirror, comeback like that is very, very difficult, and Nurture's not going to let it happen.
Yeah, it'd be super hard. And kind of talking about what could happen that way, and it's a very deep hypothetical, guy. By the way, guys, like if Nurture is a worse player, there's more chances, but he knows how to secure a game like this, and the Ling pressure just keeps on going. Like maybe a Spire. Maybe some good Ling run by or whatever, but that counterattack from Nurture was so strong.
It was devastating. There were not defensive Banelings in place to deflect it. Everything was committed to that attack, which frankly was defended very, very well. Not finishing off the queen was a huge mistake from Su. Nurture was able to just barely save it, brings his reinforcements in, gets a great defensive Baneling detonation, and now Nurture roaches. And you might think, well, Su, has the tech advantage, but what tech advantage? Like, he's going to have roach speed, which really doesn't matter that much in this kind of situation. It's going to be down to sheer numbers, which Nurture can produce and Su cannot.
Yeah. And even that advantage you talked about is on the clock right now. This speed upgrade is there for Nurture as well.
It's on the way.
Slight supply advantage in army from Nurture. Most of that supply advantage you're seeing is in workers, but that too is a clock in its own right. As the game goes on, if you're in a mirror matchup with the 10, 15 drone advantage, well, that's quite a big chunk of income that you're getting right now. Su's going to push out, but the overload positioning of Nurture is great. He sees it. Okay. He says, I'll make roaches too, and then that's just the end of it.
Man, if you look at the resources lost, it's about as identical as you get. Like, there's 20 in it, but that doesn't tell the story at all. What happened was the economic damage done to Su was significantly worse. Su didn't have the third base. Nurture was able to recover from the damage quicker, and as a result, he was able to leverage that into having more money. So he can afford to lose those units. Those losses for Su were much more impactful, and like I said, tech's equalized. It's a complete wash. Nurture has a big lead in terms of numbers. Banelings don't make a difference here. I mean, this is classic ZVZ at this point. It's going to be roach on roach. Su's going to try and get +2 out. That's a couple of minutes away. You're going to have to get and he does get a really good concave here. Notice Nurture has units to the back not able to fire and contribute to this fight. Nurture would be best backing off here and just bringing his reinforcements in, but now he's on top of it. Now he just has the numbers, and I think Su is on the verge of tapping out here. A good transfuse, but there is a lot of Nurture, and there's a lot more coming as well. And this hold, not really possible. That third is going to die. Su's only chance really is to pull back to the natural and try and hold there, but I mean, look at the numbers. It's not even close. GG. Nurture, probably our most efficient slayer of top-tier Koreans that we have, and proving beyond the shadow of a doubt that he deserves that title and is so very dominant here.
Just when Su is looking indestructible, Nurture comes in and just in all phases. I mean, well, not in all phases, I guess. To be honest, he was looking really rough and in a bad spot. But to have the mental tenacity to do the lane counterattack, knowing that if he can get good damage in, then he can perhaps flip this game on its head. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, if those lanes are just back at home, but he takes the drone losses that he did and is just in that kind of trouble, then they're not doing anything for him. But in the counterattack, it was And let's be honest, by the way, Su was caught being greedy behind that attack. He was droning. He only had the 2 queens. He had nothing. There was like a pseudo wall in, but it wasn't walled in with the queen or anything like that. So he took massive damage, didn't react accordingly, and Nurture just never looked back. And that's, for some people, they don't like that. They look at, they want StarCraft to always have huge comeback potential, but in a mirror matchup, you're both working with the same tools. And if one guy just has way more, then that's it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that you saw the comeback potential, but it was in Nurture, Nurture's counterattack is what allowed him to come back. Yeah, he'd taken some damage, not game-ending damage, but the counterattack, you saw how fast it equalized those drone losses, and then suddenly you realize, wait a minute, Nurture's on 3 bases, he didn't lose his third, Su went for a killing blow there. He tried to kill Nurture, and he didn't. And then after that, it was just a matter of numbers, a matter of simple mathematics.
Yeah, even the concave at the top of the ramp wasn't enough. It was like 30 going on 40 supply advantage for Nurture.
Yeah.
So it's just too much.
It would have gone through eventually. It was a good concave, but going up to that lair didn't help Su. He gained no benefit from doing that. So at that point, it was simple numbers. I mean, even if he happened to have that early +2, that's not enough to counterbalance the fact that your opponent has 15 more roaches than you, Right. What other tech can you really have there? Maybe you have some banelings and you get some good connections in the middle of the roaches.
Or something, I guess, but
maybe. But I think it's just that it's a sheer economic game at that point. Nurture had the economy and Su didn't.
Agreed.
Got to give him props.
Goodbye, Su. Hello, Nurture.
Yep. Best in the world he may be, but Nurture, I mean, he's beaten the best in the world. Like, I'm trying to think of can you name a Korean player that Nurture was not beaten at some point? Because nothing springs to mind. It's just that good.
Nope. Yeah. He's got a puncher's chance against everybody, too.
Yeah, he
really
does.
Good.
Yeah. On any given day. And more so than most, I would say. In the foreign scene. It's awesome to see. Because he's been like that for years. You don't mess around with Nurchio, no doubt. Well, his competitor, this is going to be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Because this is a nostalgic matchup, is what this is. Now, you go back years and years, and you saw these guys clashing in incredible encounters. And it's rare that we see players come back, re-enter the scene, especially after being away for so long. But in this case, MMA, ladies and gents.
So good to see him. One of the great kind of personalities in a lot of respects from the Korean scene, but also just one of the most accomplished players. But he brought a little spunk, a little fire, always had a smile on his face, played the game with style. It's just really good to see him. Served his country, did what he had to do the military stint, and now he's here to play games again.
Yeah, he's back. We've seen him play already. This is a kind of situation where, we brought players back before. We've had Squirtle back. He didn't do all that well. Brought Supernova back. He actually looked pretty good. And I think after, got more practice, I'll bring him back again. You can get back into the swing of things. And with a new patch in particular, that's a reset button for a lot of people.
Yep.
And it is useful. And MMA was invited to Home Story Cup. And you know what? He 3-2'd Nurchio. Straight up. And he 3-0'd Laser. I think most people would consider those to be the two best foreign Zerg in the world right now. He was always a master of TVZ. He was a monster in that matchup. And he might be a bit out of practice. He may not be the god that he once was. Bear in mind, he also lost 2-0 to Firecake. It's like, Firecake still plays? Yes. That's weird. But we've seen him play. And it's been pretty great. Sorry, I was actually referring, that was an old Home Story Cup right there. He was in the new Home Story Cup. He actually went against Stefano, of all people, and he had a very close series with him. 3-2 in favor of Stefano, though. Stefano's one of those other players who just shows up and does some great stuff. So, I will correct myself on that. He recently played also with the Blazer Open 5. He did lose to Bly there. So, can he beat Nurchio? Well, the best of one? Sure. Why not? No reason to believe that he can't.
Best of one, yeah. I mean, he's not at full strength, but it's just really fun that he basically got out and said, hey, guys, I'm back, and then was immediately on a plane going to Home Story Cup, and he's been practicing. So we'll see him escalate, but could this be one of those stepping stones where he faces a Nurchio in this meta and in this game? That'd be great. And I love what you're talking about with it being a reset button, too. It's what I remember of MMA was his kind of Heart of the Swarm style. We didn't get to see him in Legacy of the Void until now.
No, we really didn't. It's weird. It's a new game for everybody. Him sort of doubly so.
Yeah.
You can't erase talent at the end of the day. And will MMA be an excellent success story? I mean, I'd love to see that. It was someone coming back from the military and becoming a success story in StarCraft 2. I don't know of anyone that's done that. For obvious reasons, early on in StarCraft 2, everyone that was wanting to compete, they delayed their military service. Eventually, you have to go. And it's been the last couple of years that we've seen people go and do it. So really, we're only just seeing the first cadre of people coming back. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can actually bring it. We're going to find out here. On Blackpink LE, the current reigning king of the hill is a fearsome opponent indeed. In the red trunks playing Zerg, it's Nurchio. Versus his opponent to the southwest position, in the green trunks, returning from his military service after 2 years. And now, I believe, on Team Expert once again, with his old Acer brethren, it is MMA.
Yeah, Nurchio and MMA former teammates even for a while there.
Yeah, they were. Absolutely. MMA, of course, part of Team Axiom Acer at one point. The final ever GSTL champions. Has an incredible record, and as you said, like one of those Koreans that really stood out. In a time when the whole faceless Korean meme was at its height, MMA was always popular. He had an exciting, fiery playstyle. He interviewed well. He was personable. He was likable. Now
I will always remember when he beat Idra at MLG, and then he threw a Hadouken in his direction. And it was one of those things where it's like that in and of itself is cool, but the fact that, like you said, back then, a lot of the top Koreans, interviews were a little bit stagnant. They didn't show a whole lot of personality. It was mostly in their play, which is fine. You don't have to be this big flamboyant personality, but we were spoiled with MC, and then we were spoiled with the Boxer Boys. MMA came over and was just super, super interesting and played with that fire, and it made things really cool. It won a lot of fans that way, became a fan favorite.
Interesting build from MMA here. You don't generally see both orbitals kind of going down at the same time, but it's happening. And we've got the factory on the way here as well. We might see some really strange old school stuff going on here with MMA. It's really hard to say. We saw a little bit of his play at home story. Not really a tournament that's necessarily indicative of all that much.
Right.
So I don't know what to expect. MMA has obviously never played in Kings before because he was in the military the entire time Kings was running.
Yeah, he'll bring a different rendition to things. He'll have different ideas. And what I kind of liked about this is we saw a defensive opening from Neuro, and that's because the stereotype or kind of the MO of MMA in his past was that he too tends towards aggression, but can mix things up. He's not afraid to cheese.
No, definitely
not afraid to all in, but is also super prepared to go the distance. So Neuro played to that best of one mentality of like, all right, is MMA going to come in here and just proxy barracks me and I just lose immediately after that cool win? No. But what MMA did do was CC first, which, as you said, is a little bit more old school, but also risky.
Yeah, definitely. It's a dicey thing to do. He basically got away with it. A full scout did happen, which is great for Neuro, obviously, but a double orbital command going down pretty much immediately. And MMA's like already not playing like any player we see right now. It's sort of a weird old combination. It's kind of like a Polt-esque build, an early Viking, a couple of Hellions, single Reaper, not being too aggressive with the Reaper, not doing things that maybe would require a great deal of accuracy or control with the Reaper, which for someone who is still trying to get back into his groove, probably this is a quite sensible, conservative way to play.
Going to be very curious at the development here from Neuro. He went with that pretty early Bangley Nest. Now, that could be an answer to the potential Hellbat follow-up here from MMA, which I don't think is happening. He's going to scout the Overlord.
This is interesting.
Sees the Starport, by the way, and that's a fake upgrade.
It is, yeah.
He does not care about Banshee Cloak upgrade. He just kind of wanted to show him that perhaps it is Banshees, get out some Spore Crawlers, and then all of a sudden a Liberator shows up. Yeah,
that's an interesting way of doing things. 3 Spores being thrown down, and then, of course, the upgrade gets cancelled. And there's no, he's not going to scout it now unless he accidentally leaves that supply depot, which would be a big mistake. As you said, yeah, that's 4. I mean, that's an excessive number. Right? That was a straight-up mind game from MMA. Neuro was massively over-prepared for a thing that isn't really coming. Now it's double armory, so we're going to be seeing some serious mech here out of MMA. I mean, we might basically be seeing Heart of the Swarm Hellion style here.
Very cool. And the Viking gets to go up and clear airspace as well, so a Liberator can kind of get out there pretty freely.
Yep.
Or just hunting Overlords in general, actually, is I think what he's doing. But this Liberator's going to go to the right side of the map now. There's a lot of Queens, and those Queens can
definitely
muscle through a Liberator, too. They can kind of heal themselves so they get underneath it. But they're out of position. They're drawn out by the Hellions. And a couple of drones are going to go down. Now, the Spore Crawlers can, of course, reposition, but this is all good for MMA, who's meching behind this. And one of the things you have to do when you mech is win space and time, because right now his unit count is not super high.
Yep, picks off. I mean, he's killed 7 drones up to this point. 8. This is a great piece of harass here. MMA's like, oh, it's like a tank in the sky. That's cool. I should use that.
Cool. Yeah, Queen's over there.
Oh, deployed in range of the Spore, which is a bit unfortunate. He could get out of there. He's going to have to be a little quicker. He does it. It's like, is he, he's a little slower than you may have remembered him, but he's done 11 drones worth of damage with that single lib. That was an excellent trick that he played on Neuro. Neuro completely overreacted. We're now seeing Thors. This, if you want to characterize MMA, if you want to remember what MMA was, MMA's drops were probably his single most defining characteristic. And we've actually seen a big surge in popularity over the last few months of Thor dropping, and how dangerous that can be. Blue Flame Hellion being added in. There's the medevacs for the Thors. We could see some serious hurt being put on here by MMA. If he's, does he still have the speed? Does he still have the accuracy to make this work? Guess we're about to find out. He's going for it.
That's a lot of Hellions. And with those armories, of course, can become Hell Bats. And on the flip side, Hydroden's about to finish, but otherwise no roaches. TotalBiscuit, this is going to be rough.
Yeah, it is. There's basically nothing on the ground other than Queens. Those Thors are going to tear through those very, very quickly. Here come the Hellbats. This is what we saw at MLG at the start of Heart of the Swarm here from MMA, frankly. We got more drones killed as well. That Liberator, by the way, is still alive. Like, it's about to die unless he moves, and he's... he does finally lose it. If he went in the other direction, he would have actually been able to save it. There's enough on the ground for MMA to maybe think twice here, but look at what he's done. He's got a fourth coming behind this. Like, the sheer amount of greed that MMA is demonstrating, but he's keeping his opponent pinned down with threats from all sides here. And Nurchio doesn't really know what to make of it.
Well, it's just a different form of pressure. He had the army to probably push into it, but it puts the game in the line where, like, if there is more army than he was expecting, and he loses that force, and all of a sudden his third and his fourth can't exist, they're in trouble. So it gets a little bit dicey, but what MMA has done is gotten the reaction from Nurchio and then pulled back to that greedy expansion, which all of a sudden doesn't become as greedy because his army is massive. He's actually in supply advantage in army by a lot.
Yeah, the efficiency of MMA's play up to this point has been excellent. Nurchio biding his time. We should not overemphasize what MMA has done here. Nurchio is still very much in the game. 3 command centers being added. Nidus for Nurchio. I think Nurchio's kind of like had enough, saying, look, this is silly. Like, you're playing around with me here. I'm just going to go try and kill you. And we're seeing MMA split drops coming from all over the place, actively using that Viking to shut down the air scouting and abilities of Nurchio to see what's coming. Nurchio may just straight up try and Nidus him and win. Nice pick off there by Nurchio. Picks off a fully loaded Medivac. And now Nurchio's starting to get a bit of a handle on things.
The Nidus might be a bit of a pipe dream, though. He's going to kind of move up the left side of the map.
Yeah, where's he going to be able to
weird
put
base
it?
trade thing.
Yeah, he can do it there, and MMA is going to have to pull forces back, and unfortunately, like, they're way out of position. He's got a couple of tanks here. Nidus Worm is right in the center. I mean, this is right in the middle of the production. This is going to be a mess, and MMA's just continuing to push. Those 2 tanks caught on the way, and Nurchio is just going to go for it. And
it's weird.
Yeah, it is. This is going to be a very, very weird base trade here. And MMA's got to make a decision. Either go or... I mean, you can't get back. You can't get back now. You've got to go. The tank is going to try and hold up against far too many Hellions. That's not going to work. That Nidus Worm, as you said, is a mess. And if MMA is going to win, he's going to win with what he's got right here, right now. It is a powerful army, but he can't split it up. He's got to be very careful about how he commits with it. This is a full-on base trade, no doubt about that. MMA is producing units that are just dying immediately. Unfortunately, the vehicle weapons got denied. Plating did finish. Here come the Queens. Where are those Thors? He really needs to back that up.
Yeah, he's just taking a weird fight here, and this is the trouble with the base tree. It's going to come down to he's going to try to commit to this, but there's enough Zerg.
He can't do it.
There's actually an army on the other side of the map as well. 100 supply advantage, and MMA is getting the worst end of this base trade.
Man. Yeah, I mean, that Nidus being unreacted to, MMA's army being across the map, that was a death sentence, and that's going to be it, unfortunately. MMA showing some really nice stuff at the start of this game.
Yeah.
But Nurchio's like, right, okay, playtime's over. Let's just hammer it down. I don't think you're going to be ready for this, Nidus. Strangely enough, he almost was. He almost shot down the Overlord before it was able to place the Nidus one. But as soon as it did, well, that was it. MMA is done, I'm afraid, in this particular matchup. GG.
Very interesting. I think in a straight-up army versus army, MMA would win hands down, but Nurchio counterattacks, and as you pointed out, Nidus is on top of the production, and both those moves were surgical and very, very good, whereas MMA's army again, in a straight up fight, it clobbers
Naturally.
Nurchio, but in those base trades, all of a sudden there's this desperation. A couple of tanks get isolated. You're getting drones pulled on you, and you start to have that army bleed out. And with no production behind it, no chance.
Yep. It's one of those problems that mech has and is frequently mentioned as a weakness of it, is that in one place it's the most powerful thing you could ever build. But it's in one place. And there are ways and means around that. The Nidus was the exact right answer to that. It's a shame.
Yep.
You know, I think if MMA maybe had a missile turret or two up, maybe had a second Viking patrolling there, that could have been prevented. And that would have been a different fight. It would have given MMA the chance to either push without his entire production being camped, or to bring it back and reconcile and push from there. Because economically, MMA had an excellent economy. But, you know, nothing
Just
at home really to hold it.
I mean, maybe the Nidus always goes down because it's really hard to, I mean, even with all the things you described, if he sees it for 1 second, he can drop it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need.
But
and it's invincible
siege
while
the
it's
tank,
building.
Something. He needed to do something there.
Yes. Yeah, you do. And, well, nothing happened there, unfortunately. But MMA showing some promise. You know, there was typical MMA flair there. And if MMA continues to commit, plays in online tournaments, gets back in gear, you know, I'd love to see him play again. He brought some interesting ideas to the table there, and what he was able to execute was really exciting and actually really did throw Nurchio for a loop for the first good few minutes of the game. He had no idea what was going on. Somehow we should still be on NA. I think we somehow have two separate lobbies. Not sure how that happened.
I'm not in a lobby.
According to this, you are. That's strange. All right, let me toss you an invite. Yeah. Currently, it's showing 2 of you online, so the NA server is having some interesting issues right now. Let me put it that way.
Oh my god, they've cloned me.
No, I mean, that's great. I can just completely retire and let you run the show. That'll be ideal.
But which one of me wins?
Who knows? All right. Well, Nurchio looking strong right now, as you would expect him to, as he always does in this particular tournament. Puts another $1,000 on the board. But we still have
you know what we haven't talked about? Who's got the most wins now?
That is a great question, actually. If we
Statman.
Yes, if we look at the rank board, Nurchio actually would be 1 behind now. Nurchio is at 19 as of this event, Innovation at 20. So he can equal Innovation's total wins, and he can pass them with just 2 more maps. That's assuming, of course, Innovation doesn't show up in this tournament, which is entirely possible, quite likely, and happens almost all the time. So, worth bearing that in mind. He hasn't shown up yet, and it's getting a little late in the day. Will he be here? Will he not? I'm not going to tell.
You shouldn't. Let's keep that a surprise.
Yeah, I do like to make sure Innovation and Nurchio are both in the same event so they can actually keep up with each other. They got a nice little rivalry going on.
Did you tell people that there is a fingernail clipping in every single batch of Dodger coffee if you order it?
No.
From Dodger itself?
No, I don't even think that's necessarily a true statement.
Well, I mean, what is a true statement? I just got booted from NA, by the way, so I think I have to do the whole.
You'll have to
hard
restart.
close thing.
Yeah. You'll have to do that. We are currently trying to get TY, assuming it was him or somebody else, could be anybody on the server. Just having a few issues with NA. We apologize for the delay. In the meantime, I'd like to remind you, of course, there will be a rebroadcast after the show, and if you miss anything, spoiler-free VODs will be available over at youtube.com/TotalBiscuit over the next couple of days. So we try and get everything in here. Like I say, NA is proving a problem, and NA is a good server when you're having foreigners versus Koreans. In fact, it's pretty much the best server that you can use. It's about as equal as it got. I just got disconnected from the server again. It's been happening all day. What are you hard closing? The BattleNet? It says BattleNet, right? No, you need to go into the process and hard close StarCraft 2. Even after you've closed StarCraft 2, it's still there in the memory for some reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't see StarCraft in here.
Yeah. Well, in that case, you might just be able to reload BattleNet and go right back in, unless you're having that error.
Well, I'll try.
Let's give it a shot. According to this, I'm still in the lobby. I don't believe that for a second. I'm going to exit the game and just reload it, because I don't in any way trust that.
That what?
That it will actually let me into the game. It says I'm in the lobby, but I don't believe it.
That's your necromonger self. That's your other dimensional self.
Indeed, yeah. It's a shadow in the void.
Yeah.
Or something.
I'm back on.
It's probably got something to do with the Spear of Adon. Who knows? Most things do.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's the only surviving Protoss whatchamacallit ship. What are they called? Craft World.
Is it Craft World? No.
Well,
No.
Eldar.
Yes.
There's an Eldar joke.
Indeed. Yeah. Not that there would be any crossover between those two
No,
things. And
very different.
No. There's no inspiration whatsoever there. No.
No.
Of course not. Absolutely not.
When you get in, though, invite me, please. Invite this version of me.
I will do that. I will absolutely do that.
There it is. Sweet. I guess you're not my friend, so I can just join through that. I'm an idiot.
All right. We almost have everybody in. We're just struggling to get our player on. And then we will play. I promise. Don't want to keep you waiting for too much longer. Also, bear in mind there will
Starcraft
be...
is in your near future, guys.
Yeah. It will happen today. Everything else is fine. All the other servers are fine. That's the weird thing about it. It's just NA that's completely crapping itself today. All right, looks like we've found our player and we'll be able to bring him in momentarily, which is good. Bear in mind that while we're in the off-season, there's still plenty of StarCraft going on. Of course, there will be a ShoutCraft Kings December. If we can get one of our one-off tournaments executed, that would be great. We've got some great ideas. Some crazy stuff that will go on. Something you will not have seen, that I can guarantee. And, of course, the qualifiers going on for WESG towards the end of the month. Big tournament. $18,000 for the winner for that.
Not bad.
Nope, not bad at all. The World Electronic Sports Games. It's actually going to be happening, I believe, in March of next year. So that's the qualifiers for it.
Wow.
All right, cool. We actually have our player in. Excellent. So we are just going to start before it breaks. That's probably the best thing we can do right now. Everyone's in? Yes, good. Right, we have everybody. Go. Press the button before it breaks again. Our challenger, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Well, Nergio showing some fine Zerg versus Terran, but he's going to have to do that at least one more time. As I mentioned, we have the round of 4 of BlizzCon, and this guy is TY.
No pun for you this time, TotalBiscuit.
No, got a little bit of a rhyme in there.
Oh,
But
shit.
that's about
I didn't
it.
even see it.
Yeah.
Damn
Well, something, something, rap god, etc.
it. I'm disgusted.
Yes, as you should be. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger to the southeast position in the blue trunks playing Terran. It is TY. Round of 4 BlizzCon finish for the man who is the top earner in 1 year ever for StarCraft 2. In fact, would have been the top earner completely if he happened to have won that event. As it stands, he'll just have to make do with making the most money in 1 year of anybody. To the northwest position, the current reigning king of the hill, in the red trunks playing Zerg, it's Nergio.
And we return to Neon Violet Square, which does have that little hidden base behind it. Favors the turtley play, of course, just because of the ability to secure and grab these expansions. If you look at kind of the choke area below the natural, there's a third either way, like down the ramp or just below that. So very macro, but also a medium-sized map. It's actually, this might be towards the large end. This is pretty large.
Yeah.
But open in the middle. A lot of open spaces, I guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice to have that sort of mini base. Like I say, good for gas, not so great for anything else, but of course you don't have to commit too many workers to it, and it's fairly easy to protect, to say the least. So it may be worthwhile. And when we talk about TY, of course, we're going to talk about the $300,000 he managed to make over the course of just 2 tournaments. WESG 2016. He 4-3's Morrow for 200 grand. And then he 4-3 stats in the IEM World Championship for another $100,000. That's a lot of money. Of course, he picked up $42,000 from BlizzCon as well. So, you know, his total earnings for 2017 were almost, I believe, $400,000 in prize money. That is a lot. But pro gamers are active gamers. He doesn't sit on his laurels. Some players do. You know, we like to... I think SOS is probably the best example of a player that it's like, I have a lot of money. I don't need to play in any tournaments that I don't really want to play in. But for TY, he's very competitive, and I think that may very well be required in order to stay on top these days. It's not enough just to show up every once in a while. You've got to be showing up all the time.
Show up all the time and, you know, get your chances against these other guys that are doing the same thing. I mean, these guys play against each other all year long. Nurchio versus TY, not as much, yet I can still think of that clash having happened. I believe it was at BlizzCon. Did they not play, or was that Snoot? I can't remember.
I think, yes, Nurchio did play against TY, if I recall correctly. TY, I believe, flattened him.
Yeah.
It was a straight 2-0 in the round of 16.
But in any case, it's just really fun to see them do this. And of course, with ShoutCraft Kings, it's a unique situation too, where they're not flying across the world and staying in a hotel and changing their schedule or anything like that. They're just getting some great practice in on the weekend for a great prize pool. So thank you for everyone that has been supporting it by buying the war chests and, of course, picking up hair follicles and nail clippings from Dodger Coffee.
As we have made abundantly clear, those are not included, and Jeff is lying to you about this particular issue. Blizzard, of course, providing the financing for this event. And there will be many more. 2018, it's going to happen. The tournament will continue. Hopefully with as much money, hell, if not more. Although I think that might be going a little bit too much. You know,
let's not give the pro gamers too much money.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, well... Here's some interesting stuff from Nurchio. Really early Nidus.
I think it's going to be...
Nidus.
Yeah. Well, he's got the Roach Warren finishing. He had a lot of larvae stacked up.
Yep. He's ready to go on 2 bases here. And here's the interesting thing. TY, he knows about that Overlord. He sees that position. That's suspicious. He's got to be thinking about the possibility, especially after seeing the last game. You know, you saw the night, but the 3rd command center's going down for TY. This is... not a good situation.
No.
Not at all. And here it comes. Right now, TY's army's across the map. He's not reacting.
Hello?
Now he is.
Okay, now he is.
Too late, it's Hellions. It's Hellions. Oh, well, what he's going to do is he's going to try and block off this area and place the Liberator above it to shut it down. It's not a complete wall-off, but it does limit where those units can go. But the economic damage is too much. Nurchio flattens him in 4 minutes 56. There's a bit of revenge for BlizzCon if you ever wanted to see it. Good God. That was quick. Took us longer to set up that game than it did to play it.
Just smart play. It's something different. We haven't seen that just yet. He was able to execute at a high level. You know, TY is slow to react, but if he has an immediate reaction, does he hold it off? I don't think so. I think it was just a build order win. Well done.
I think it was. You know, it's like, what? Hellions. Okay, right. Well, he had the Liberator. Great. You know, maybe if he had 2 Liberators, he pushes that back there. I love what he tried to do. He was like, hey, if I surround you with engineering bays, you can't deploy. Yeah, a little too late. You know, it was a cool attempt. It was a nice move, but he was dead. You know, as soon as that Nidus went down, he was dead. He took the 3rd. It was, you know, fairly greedy opening there and punished as hard as you possibly can. Easiest $500 in Nurchio's life, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know about his extracurricular activities, but when it comes to StarCraft, that's a quick 500. You know, that's over $100 a minute he just earned on that. 4 minutes 56.
He could be a high-end young man of the night. So perhaps there are other ways for him to have earned more money faster, but for all intents and purposes, as far as we know, he is not a vampire. Profitable 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, not too bad. He can't be too unhappy with that. He actually now equalizes with Innovation in terms of wins. 1 more map puts him ahead of Innovation once again, and the race and rivalry continues in that respect.
You know what I would like, but I don't know if it's possible.
I don't know what you would like, not specifically, but...
The 2 of them are tied for most wins.
Oh. Yeah. Man, if only that could happen. Well, we'll be quickly going on to our next game before we take a break. I can't imagine it's going to be any quicker than that one. And finally,
It's
we are
been
off.
quick in general, right? Like, how many more guys do you have, actually?
We have. This is. We got 5 left, I think, if we include this player right here. Yeah,
it's
so
really quick.
It's been a fairly quick tournament today. Pretty brutal. We've
I just
seen.
got booted again, but I'm back.
Well, we're on EU now. We shouldn't be getting booted from that.
Nobody told me.
Yeah, head on over to EU. We should have
It's
hopefully
really
no
nice
problems
because
here.
Going between servers is like 2 seconds.
Yeah, except when it's breaking today, in which case it's not.
Right.
But
Yeah.
usually it runs very, very well. But it's interesting. Yeah, this patch has actually generated a lot of short games today. Now we've been at the tournament for just over 4 hours, and we are through 75% of our contestants. So unless we see a very lengthy set of games in the last group of players, we'll be over before the 6-hour mark today.
Yeah.
A lot of quick, aggressive games. I think anything involving Protoss tend to drag on a little bit just because of maybe the defensive nature of Protoss in this patch. But ZVZ?
It's been the Zergs.
TVZ?
Like the ZVPs where they were all inning on Catalyst, I think it was, which is the map we're going to right now.
Yep. Seen plenty of that.
Which is interesting. So in practice, I will be very curious how Nurtio takes this map because, like I said, even outside of ShoutCraft Kings, I've seen some other tournaments. It's like they don't want to play on Catalyst, and I'm not seeing it. Why that is, but everyone's just being very aggressive on this map.
Seems to work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Except for Solar, I guess.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well for him.
Neeb shut that down pretty hard.
Yeah,
the old 6 shield generators at the top of the ramp. That's what you need.
Yep. Shield batteries,
Yeah.
pretty good. Let's just put it that way.
I'm getting in the Star Wars mindset. I already said generator.
Cruisers cannot repel firepower of that magnitude. We are just waiting for our... Where is he? We're just waiting for our contestant, who should, frankly, be here right now.
Thank you guys for tuning in, by the way. We are close to 16,000 on this stream, so that's awesome. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. And if you have missed the beginning of this for one reason or another, the VODs will go up pretty shortly. TotalBiscuit said they're going to be running a rerun of this afterwards as well, so you can watch right away. We're just trying to figure out where our missing combatant is.
He's on his way. He is on his way to the EU server, which will be a nice break from having ludicrous problems on the NA server at the moment. So here we go. The challenger, ladies and gentlemen. These guys frequently go head to head. And when it comes to this player, well, we've seen some nice, very recent success, of course, on this patch with great performance in Home Story Cup. Will he be able to bring it again? It's Snoot.
The other white meat of European top Zerg players.
True enough. He is that good. But, you know, a bit inconsistent, certainly. We have seen that.
Well,
he has his genius
to his
moments.
standard, right?
Yeah.
He still qualifies for every tournament. He still usually makes it at least halfway through it.
I would think so, yes. He does all right, but he does hold himself to some, as you said, extremely high standards.
Yeah.
Can't blame the guy at all. You know, he was not happy with his BlizzCon performance.
BlizzCon was rough for him, and that was an interesting one too, because on paper it looks way worse. I think he took one map, but his games against TY were really, really good.
Yeah,
and
they
he
were.
put up quite the fight against Stats. I think it was too. No, I think he took a map off of. Anyways, score aside, his games were very good and very close. His results very poor, especially by Snoot standards.
Well, to the southeast position here on Catalyst, we currently have a reigning king of the hill and has now tied total number of ShoutCraft Kings wins with Innovation. In the red trunks playing Zerg, it is Nurtio. Versus his opponent and certainly European rival to the northwest position in the blue trunks playing Zerg, it is Team Liquid Snoot.
And again. I don't know. Was that a 12? I didn't see. I don't think so.
It was not a 12. No. It was I believe it was a 14. So, nothing too crazy. He will expand off that. Now, there's not a huge practical difference between hatchery first versus a sort of 14 pull, then a hatchery. Hatchery, of course, about 15 seconds difference. Is it enough to execute any kind of rush? No, it's not. It's not an all-in. It's not an aggressive strategy. In many ways, it's sort of a stylistic decision. Does allow you to get your queen out slightly faster. Lets you start speed slightly faster. Snoot immediately going 6 lings. So he's certainly going to endeavor to do some damage.
Which is, as you were talking about, TotalBiscuit, kind of an interesting timing for this, because these 6 lings come out, and if you look at the other side of the map, as long as Neuro doesn't absolutely forego lings himself, which, by the way, is not the standard, it's very normal for him to get 4 to 6 lings himself, and especially start those queens, then these lings don't really accomplish much. What I do think they do for Snoot is they give him the early opportunity to pop in the main and see what's going on. But it's getting a little bit interesting because he's leveraging quite a bit for just that, which is, like, you know, achievable in other ways as well.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And there's 6 lings on the way out for Neuro, and that's the thing. You know, you can't really surprise Neuro with these 6 lings, because even if you only just see him, it's like, well, I'll just build 6 lings now then. Or just defend with drones, as we've seen before, even with Sue's 12 pull, that's holdable. And now he knows what's there. You know, Baneling Nest goes down to the back here for Neuro. Very much defensive one way or the other. We're just going to have to see where this diverges from here. Those lings going to get chased off. Didn't really accomplish much. Did get the full scout. Neuro, of course, at least kept honest in a way. You know, that's another argument to that. If you don't do that, you just let your Zerg opponent drone and build whatever they like. You're going to force some of that lava, especially early on when injects aren't available, to be used on something that maybe isn't all that useful.
Well, again, to your point, if you look down at the kind of the tab there to see where we're at, same workers, slight army advantage for Snoot. So at the end of the day, it ends up being totally fine and totally normal. Speed does kick in here for Neuro first. He's going to get in that main base. Maybe pick off a drone or two.
Quite a lot of lings, actually. A surprising number of them. Maybe more than you would have expected. And they do pop out. I think he's, just going to try and catch and shut that down, but his metabolic boost isn't quite ready yet, so that's not going to happen. Out he goes. Baneling Nest placed down for Snoot as well. So, now we enter the I know you've got him, and you know I've got him kind of phase. Are you going to try and make anything happen with that? Or are you just going to play defensively and then choose your tech from here on in? Are you going to attempt to try and expand? Because both players are going to know there's an overlord above each opponent's third. It's not like that can be done secretly or anything. Snoot morphing, Baneling's right in front. That's aggressive and quite frankly risky. So Snoot wants to attack. He doesn't have enough.
Well, there's no overlord in front of the natural of Snoot. His queens push that back early. So I think he's hard selling, hey, I might be getting really aggressive.
I think you might be right.
To Neurio's credit, by the way, drones coming out, takes his third. He just has an incredible sense of what's going on. And he does see the third for Snoot over there as well, as you pointed out. So it could be that he just knows this matchup so well that he says, you're not capable of having a huge influx of lings right now, probably.
No, I think you're completely right. It was an attempt to sell something that wasn't really happening, and Neuro really didn't bite. Pushed that back without a problem. Now we see some differentiation. We got the lair started a little bit earlier for Snoot. Evolution Chamber coming up for Snoot, which I believe Neuro does not have one of those. No, yes, he does actually. Never mind. He's gone for the much, much earlier missile attack. So we'll see some Roaches. We'll possibly see some Ravagers and Banes. Question is, will we see anything else from there? Because we didn't see that massive amount of damage early on in the game that would have meant that one player just automatically wins from this position because he can build 15 more Roaches than the other dude.
Well, almost like a kind of case study on what you were saying at the beginning of this game. Both players started very differently. Snoot with that aggression, Neuro, much more passive, of course.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. It's like a 3 or 4 supply difference. They're very much so similar across the board. And I agree with what you're saying, too. We're going to see some Roaches and Ravagers because that is the mid game. And both of them have their kind of key upgrades in alignment with each other. Even though Neuro started that +1 range attack earlier, it's going to be a window of like 20 seconds. And as long as no fighting happens in that time, then it's about the same.
Yeah, won't make too much of a difference. Snoot active on the map, of course. You know, both players kind of active on the map, just wanting information, trying to figure out how much stuff you got. You know, are you posturing to attack? Are you trying to buff up your economy? What is it that you're up to here so that I can directly respond to it? I mean, Zerg's about the most reactionary race you've got, and in a ZVZ, you're going to have to constantly be aware of what your opponent is doing so that you can directly react to it.
Indeed. And we saw some Ling kind of probing. They actually did pick off all the banelings of Nurchio. Not the biggest of deal, but keep your eye on that as the game progresses, because one of the coolest moves, and we've already seen it earn a couple of these guys $500, is, you know, a cheeky little 12 or 10 Ling counterattack while there's fighting.
Yep.
Pick off the queen, get the drones, and that can actually turn a game on its head.
Yep. Especially as things start to spread out. You know, you take the 4th base, that's a lot of ground to cover. Lings are very, very fast, and suddenly, before you even realize it, before you even spot it on the minimap, oh, there's Lings in my mineral line. Oh, there's a Baneling in my mineral line. You know, even a pro gamer doesn't necessarily spot that all the time.
Right.
Snoot's gonna posture now on the map. Now, we've got pretty much equal forces from both sides.
Well, yeah, it's pretty equal. The speed upgrade for Snoot is a bigger deal here. Just be able to get into position. He's trying to get this Baneling forward, but it's not getting in.
Yeah, he gets two in the middle. Decent connection here, but I think Snoot's going to have to back off here. You know, defender's advantage is not going to allow Snoot to break through. He doesn't have the numbers for it. They trade out. Resources lost currently very, very even on both sides. And economically, also both very, very even. Just Nurchio almost with that 4th base up. And there's no sign yet of a 4th here from Snoot.
The scary thing about the 4th, too, is that if he waddles a queen over there, that's basically... I'm going to do math on stream. It's like a 25% production increase for Nurchio versus what Snoot has available to him. And there is the 4th base that Nurchio spots immediately going down over there as well. So it's just Snoot one step behind. But to your point, it's not the biggest of deals right now. It's even if he saturates it very lightly, which you don't want to do too much more of, by the way. They're at like 60-ish drones each. You don't want to have 85 drones in this matchup because that'll actually lose you the battle, the big fight. But we'll see what happens here.
Yep. Currently Roach Ravager on both sides. Usually what you might see from here is one player might go Infestation Pit. One player also may consider Hydras. You know, that's a very good addition to the back, especially like with +2 ranged. Having Hydralisks in the back is a very potent weapon.
Lurkers,
great shot there by Snoot, actually picking off an Overlord with the Corrosive Bile. They're both going to have... I mean, there is a window where Snoot's not going to have that +2 missile, but I don't think Nurchio's going to hit it. No, he's showing no signs of wanting to do that. Like, he's just playing defensively, holding onto that 4th, saying, all right, we're good. And as you said, no attempt to really make more drones. Right now, that's a lava generator.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting kind of feeling points, too, because you want that 4th base to get you some money, obviously.
Yeah. But
it's about 66 drones to fully saturate your first 3 bases, but by about the time you take your 4th, as you can see with that main base... Oh, we almost closed on Ravager Snoot there. The main base requires now 10 drones. So
yes, so you can take some off of that.
Forth.
Yeah. Well, don't want to fight there. That is a nasty place indeed. Ravager count is currently slightly in favor of Nurchio, like not significant. You know, this is going to be a very, very big fight here. Nice corrosive biles there by Snoot. They connect very well. I think Snoot realizes that and thinks, all right, will this give me the edge? Well, currently in terms of numbers, it actually doesn't. Nurchio is continuing to hammer forward and chases this away effectively. That was not a great engagement there for Snoot, despite landing some excellent biles.
Oh man, the supplies were like even, and then they bumped into each other like that. A couple of corrosive biles connected, and the supply just plummeted for Snoot. Nurchio able to take a big advantage there. But if you look at them too, as long as Snoot holds on here and he's down 20 supplies, so it's not by any means the easiest hold.
No.
They both don't really have a bank. They had to spend their banks to get to where they're at right now. So if Snoot can hold, the game will stabilize.
Yep. As much as we talk about the potential of ZVZ being more than Roach Ravager, right now this is about as Roach Ravager as it gets. Snoot actually going for an armor upgrade that Nurchio has actually had this entire time, and I have to wonder how much difference that actually made. It may have made more than you might think. Excellent corrosive biles again from Nurchio as well. Very spread out here, but again, we're in a defender's advantage situation with a great concave here for Snoot. will Nurture be able to bring in enough reinforcements to crack this? The Ravagers at the back continue to contribute very, very well to this fight and remain untouched. Nice control here by Nurture. He's hammering the advantage forward. He's taken some great engagements here, and Snoot is looking like he's out of it. GG.
Couple of beautiful moves there. Snoot tried to get on top of the Ravagers, but in doing so brought himself inside the teeth of that kind of center mass of roaches, and then that game ends with the corrosive biles canceling out on 4 roaches being made. Now, of course, as we know, 4 roaches weren't going to turn the tide of the battle or something like that, but just ultimately Nurchio doing what he does best, which is amazing micro. He's always been kind of Stefano-esque in his control of roaches.
Yeah, that was really, really great. You know, excellent concaves, using everything to the absolute fullest effect. We talk about concaves a lot, and you think, well, why is that important? Well, it matters because roaches don't have a lot of range, and if you have a large number of roaches, it's really easy for them to ball up and have a bunch at the back that can't actually shoot. So they're not contributing to the fight in any real way. Well, in this case, Snoot was able to, Nurture was able to make sure that all of his roaches were constantly firing, constantly engaged, and kept his Ravagers alive very, very well, and they were able to land some excellent hits. And hell, you saw a fairly even fight turn the way of one player simply because one player controlled the position better than the other. Simple as that.
Well done. And that's showcasing, too, just the more fun and exciting ZVZ. They both open up very differently. They constantly trying to keep tabs on each other. A lot of micro battles. Did end up with Roach Ravager, but ended in an exciting, explosive way. I'm liking it.
That it did. We're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, our final set of matches. We have 4 more matches for you. Some excellent players still on the docket. And currently, Nurchio is on yet another tear. $2,000 in the bank. Can he surpass Innovation?
Did he not? I thought that last game he did.
I either equaled it or I can't remember one way or the other. Either way, they're both pretty much on the same level right now. Can Nurchio do yet another incredible streak? It would not be the first time he's done it, and it no doubt will not be the last. We'll be right back after the break, folks. Do not go anywhere. The final 4 games of ShoutCraft Kings are coming your way.